Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've played Destiny for 10, maybe, I think probably closer to 12 hours, and I have to say, first off, that for a game that is so incredibly vast, there is not a massive amount of freedom in it.
Right.
If you're prepared to do everything Destiny's way, then Destiny will make you fall head over heels in love with it. I mean, I'll just say, I love the game. I really do love it. The 12 hours I've spent with it have been, like, some of them have been downright giddy. I think it's a tremendous success, but there really is so much wrong with it that I can understand why there's, I mean, the backlash began very early in this case. And I don't blame anyone for asking why Bungie have made some of the decisions that they've made, because some of them are just downright bizarre. But so, I mean, I'll briefly go over the things that I really don't like. My main issue with the game is that, I mean, there's a massive question mark hanging over the fact that they've placed so many barriers between the game and the players. This is a game that it just does not make sense in single player, more so than any other cooperative multiplayer game I can think of. And because of the size of the hype train, I think a lot of people will have jumped aboard expecting entirely to play this on their own, and they are shit out of luck. Mainly for three reasons. The first one is that the game is absurdly difficult on your own. Once you hit level 5 or 6, playing alone becomes a massive uphill struggle, and to be honest, quite fucking boring. Second of all, the game does not scale at all. I played at different times with players who were 1 or 2 levels beneath me, and also 1 or 2 levels above me. In the first instance, the game became a joke involving me picking everyone up every few seconds because they just kept dying, and the latter situation involved me not being able to level up because the second any of the other players shot something, it was fucking dead. They had the, because their weapons were leveled up. It's a small difference on the surface, but during the game and it really suffers in comparison to Borderlands, which, any players of any skill could play together, and it never felt compromised as a game. And the third thing is that there's no messaging system on the tower, which is the game's hub. I expected maybe, I thought it was going to be like PlayStation Home, where you could write little text messages to people, but even I expected a few preset messages so you could talk for players. I need 2 people no higher than rank 5 to go and do mission X, Y, Z or whatever. And people want that, because if you're in the tower area for longer than 5 minutes, all you get is invites to join other people's fire teams. It just seems like such a weird thing to do. Can I play the game alone? No. Can I try and find other... No. It's like... it just doesn't... Also, you can play competitive multiplayer at any time after you've done the first mission, I think. But skills and abilities are tied to your level. So you will end up facing players who can do things that you can't. And I just... Why not either strip the abilities away from multiplayer or lock it off until everyone's unlocked everything they need? Because this is a way of just inviting people to get frustrated and aggravated with it, because they're up against people that they cannot compete with. You also cannot skip cutscenes, and this is a game that invites you to have multiple characters and play through it multiple times. I have friends who have several different characters already because they're playing with different people and they want to be on the same level as them. And even if you go through it a third time, you have to watch those long-ass cutscenes from beginning to end, and you cannot skip them. And when you are 3 adults without much leisure time, trying to coordinate playing together is hard enough anyway.
I skipped the opening cutscene today with the X button on. Just press X on PS4.
I don't. That can't be format specific, because we've all been talking about this today. The fact that because they've just started their 3rd characters, and I have to sit here and watch this again. That can't be specific to format, can it?
I have no idea, but what happened is I started and then had to do something else, left the game, because you can't pause it, can you, because it's an online game, and it disconnected me, and when I turned it back on, it started from the very beginning of the game again, but I just pressed X and it skipped it.
Oh.
But I don't know.
It had played out once.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be what it is, because... Friends of mine have just started their third character, and they're sitting there and watching the cutscenes. And there's a cutscene after the first mission, and there's a cutscene before the third mission, then after the third mission. It's just when you know, like I said, when you're trying to coordinate playing together with two people, it's difficult enough already. But when you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs for long periods, listening to gibberish, and it's gibberish performed by great actors, but it is gibberish. The storytelling is fragmented and cryptic, and I'm sorry, as much as all of my friends are really liking the game, none of us are interested in the fucking story one bit. In terms of the gameplay, there's this other thing that we've noticed which is driving us all up the wall, which is that enemies avoid heavy weapons with this kind of sixth sense, and it's one of the most infuriating things in history. We were fighting a boss today, and a friend of mine wasted 3 rockets because the enemy just kept doing this completely unusual maneuver. The game basically broke its own rules to fuck him over. It's awful. I mean, if you want heavy weapons to be less immediately beneficial, then make the trajectory of them harder to gauge, or make the ammo more sparse. Don't just change the rules of the game just to fuck you. I mean, an enemy suddenly move when you pull the trigger on a sniper rifle. It's just like, fuck off. There's nothing that just seems backwards. That seems like you're harking back to a bygone era when games were just not shy about screwing you over. As great as the presentation is, it also gets confused as well. If you die as a boss dies, which has happened a couple of times, the game just hangs confused, not knowing what to do. Your friends can't revive you, and the level doesn't end. It's there for the best part of 2 minutes, and then it finally sort of gets, it moves on after that. But that's a little bit weird. Enemy spawn points also don't move. So, for example, we were taking on a boss and I found an amazing spot to snipe from, and then blam blam, 2 enemies just kept appearing beside me, literally beside me, shooting me in the head. I was like, that's rubbish. And also, this is one of the problems, or one of the concerns I had about the beta, is that I'm not sure how compelling it's going to be to constantly just get presented with bullet sponge bosses as minions keep coming in waves. It's fun for now, but it feels challenging in a very hollow way, and I have a feeling it might get quite boring soon. But we'll see. There's also just little things. There's silly things like we tried to play multiplayer. We'd all played for a certain length of time, and we jumped into multiplayer, and we were in the menu ready to jump in. And it said one of you cannot play this mode, and one of our team was flashing. What? They're not eligible to play this mode. He had to go back to the tower, go and see one guy behind the desk, click X or click A, and then that was it. And it's like, why did they make it? Just this really silly fucking decision. Is 3? I mean, I can't. I think Gearbox said after Borderlands 2 that 4-man co-op was the sweet spot, and I think they're right. I don't know. I think if you only have 2 friends who game, then this is perfection incarnate. However, I don't know. I've got too many games on the go now, and it just seems silly that it could, because most 4-player co-op games work in 3-player also. I just would kind of rather this would have rather that this was a 4-player co-op game. But anyway, that's specific to my situation. Regardless of all of that crap, the game is amazing. It just feels so good. Everything about it, the leveling up, the combat, obviously, the menus are perfect. I like almost everything about it, apart from those shopping list of shit things that I just mentioned. One review I read, said that it was one of the first reviews to come out. It said that it feels like a single-player game because the multiplayer aspect doesn't demand strategy and teamwork. And I do not know what game that person played, or how, perhaps more importantly, how far they got into it. Because once you hit level 7 or 8 or so and you start doing strike missions, we never stop talking. One of us would have to take care of snipers, and if you've got 2 hardcore enemies coming towards you, if you don't all focus on one at a time, that's a recipe for quick death. You have to communicate non-stop. We never stop talking to each other. How much have you done? How far through are you?
So I've not even finished the levels that are from the beta. I'm basically replaying the same thing over and over again, but I'm doing it on hard. It's now got to the point where it's too hard, so I'm going to have to scale it back down to normal. And I was absolutely loving what I was playing, but the point that I got to was just an almost endless wave of high level, very clever, very hard enemies, and I thought that I'd finished it, and then a bunch of those big orbs just turned up for a laugh, and I was like, I'm done, I'm going to get killed. And this was after about 10 minutes of properly intense action, the 3rd or 4th time through. So yeah, I've basically been playing it like almost a Halo on Legendary at the moment, using a different character to what I played in the beta with a different main gun, and it's felt quite different. But I wanted to get that stuff out of the way before I dived in with other people.
Yeah. So you haven't played with anyone else at all?
Not in the main game, no. Not obviously I did in the beta, but not in the main Destiny. But I've only been playing it this afternoon briefly, just mainly so I could talk about it here. But yeah, it's going to be this weekend where I really get stuck in.
Yeah, it's. I mean, when you're doing what it wants you to do, e.g., play with 3 people of a similar level, it's unbeatable. It's so absurdly entertaining, and it's so good looking. I mean, I'm playing on Xbox One, and it feels really just. I mean, visually complete, but it's a much better looking game than the beta sort of was. Noticeably, it looks much better than that did. Yeah, it's so much fun. I even really like the patrol missions, which is just basically little hotspots where you go to literally just to grind to build your level up. But those levels give you a chance to explore a little bit, and they're where you have the public events. I take you haven't seen one of those yet?
Only in the beta. In fact, I have seen one in the because it's kind of like explore mode before you get to your mission, isn't it? You get dropped on. Yeah. But I'd seen it before in the beta.
Okay, I mean, the public events are just cool. When they happen, there's some of them are really just epic as fuck. When just ships descend on you from the sky and start dropping pods, and you're just in this mad, chaotic battle. Those happening is just tremendous. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm enjoying it so much. Like I said, I don't know how much life is necessarily going to be in it, because if the sort of leveling up, because it's the caps. I'd heard the level cap was 20, but friends of mine are already 22. Yeah. So that I don't know.
I think maybe it's now 30.
Oh, they have raised it, have they?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, I guess it is if they're 22. But yeah.
If all that leveling up stuff loses its appeal, then I don't know how much life could potentially be. I mean, because I'm enjoying it so much, so I'm just worried that something has to go wrong. But if they do keep throwing bullet sponges, I'm probably gonna lose my patience with it. But so far, so fucking good. It's really quite damn good.